So now let's go for custom. You know, the time that you click on one element in here, for example, let me just click on this element, and for example, if you click on custom, we have a kind of option here, add user data tab in here. By clicking actually on this option, you can have a new tab or new category in here that by default it's called user data. So I can just click on it and I go to this part, actually rename user data tab. Let me select on it, and you can just set every name that you like in here. For example, installation information, for example. Let me just click on OK, and then it was added in here. So based on actually the need that we have in here, for example, information that is not existing in here, it could be actually added for this element. Let me just click on it and I will go to this part, insert new property. We have actually 4 items in here that you can see it in here. For example, string for the first one, boolean, yes, true or false, float, and integer, yes. And for example, let me just add a string in here, for example, and let me right click on this, rename. Let me actually set measurement for it or amount for it, for example, contractor name. If I double click on it, for an empty place, or right click on it, edit value, you can just add a kind of amount in here. For example, let me name it Autodesk. Yes, so a new amount was added in here. So I can go again to this part. This one, let me just use boolean here. For example, you can just add true or false in here. Let me just go to this part, relate and rename actually. Let me name it check. Yes, by double click on it, I can just set the true or false, of course, the amount that we have in here, or edit value, for example, no, edit value, yes. You can do it. So again, I can go to this part actually. I can just go for float, and for example, I can name it elevation from actually for floor. I can just right click on it, edit value. So the height that we have in this floor, we can just say that I can go to, for example, region here, and then we can actually go to point to this part and select on point to point, for example, and then based on the, for example, based on the direction that you have, you can just unlock it, and then you will be able to edit them. For example, here 395. Actually, I can go in here, and for example, I can copy it from here, and then I can just click on it, select it, let me right click on it, edit value, and the measurement could be entered in here. And then yes, this is actually decimal. Again, I can go to this part and I can click on add integer. I can right click on it. So as an example, let me just set the name element number, or every kind of name that you would like. Right click, edit. So 1, for example, you know, in integer, you can just enter integer. You cannot, for example, use 1.1, and it doesn't let you do that. But for example, for float, you can just also add the decimal numbers, for example, in here. These are 4 parameters that you have in here. You have to pay attention that every time you can just click on one element and do these kinds of, for example, actions that we talked about them. So I mean, if you click, for example, on some elements, I mean, for example, if you click on these 2 columns in here, and then I will go and click on add user data. Of course, the things that you are in here, for example, it will happen exactly changing on that. I mean, for example, you cannot use more than 1 in user data. Yes. I mean, for example, if I rename it, for example, as in the test underscore test. Okay, you see, for example, if you click on it, that, for example, in this part, let me just click this one. You see, this is here we have test, but here we don't have test in here. For example, you cannot use simultaneously more than 1 element. If you, for example, click the custom parameters will happen just on the first option that you've clicked. It is in 2025. Of course, in future, maybe this limitation will be removed and we can just use it. actually, if you want to work on more than one selected item that you want to add, for example, this custom on them, either you have to use the English APN seen actually in Navisworks, or even data tools. That in future, of course, we'll talk about them. We'll talk about this really important tool in here. So this is about the properties windows in Navisworks.